Hello from Lisbon. Bit of a weird video this. I'm on holiday in Portugal right now, but Warzone Mobile is releasing tomorrow and Activision were kind enough to invite me to a special creator call where some of the developers of Warzone Mobile could answer a few of our questions and give us some exclusive information about the game. So I thought I'd put this video together while it's still, relevant before the game launches tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow, I'm actually flying back in the morning tomorrow, so when the game launches at 6 p.m. UK time, I'll be streaming it live right here on YouTube as well as Twitch, so make sure you subscribe and turn those notifications on. Before the presentation today, Call of Duty did send over a little bit of extra information about the game, just with some kind of headline figures and some of the things that they really wanted people to focus on. Like the fact that there's been 50 million pre-registrations, which is absolutely crazy. I think a lot of people, me included, underestimate how popular mobile gaming is and how this could be the kind of main way that the most people play Warzone, which is absolutely crazy. I'm really hoping the servers can hold up to it day one. They also wanted to talk a lot about cross progression, so there's loads of things like the battle pass and leveling up weapons, unlocking operators, stuff like that, where if you do it in the main game, you will also unlock that stuff in mobile and vice versa. And I'm assuming there's going to be a fair few things that will sort of unlock on mobile in mobile-only events, like the Day Zero event that's starting tomorrow. And then that'll be the only way to get those skins or blueprints or whatever in the main game. The Battle Pass thing is really nice. The fact that your time spent playing the mobile game will kind of transfer over to the main game, so you'll just unlock one Battle Pass, you don't have a separate one. I think that's really cool. I am a little bit worried about all of this integration. It's something I've spoken about before, that the way they're trying to make every aspect of Call of Duty connected kind of stops any one part of it from standing out too much, from doing something too different. It kind of makes everything feel a little bit bland. Hopefully they're going to avoid that, and hopefully this isn't going to tie down Treyarch's game that's coming out later this year. Hopefully it's not going to be holding that back, that it kind of needs to fit in so much with a mobile game as well as with Warzone and Plunder and whatever else that they have that's ongoing. They also gave us a bit of an update on things that they've been working on while the game's been live in lots of territories. So some of you might know that you've been able to play Warzone Mobile in lots of parts of the world over the last few months or years maybe even. It's been crazy. Not in the UK or the US unless you've been using VPNs and stuff, but there has been a version. Now it sounds like that version was kind of the pre-test version, and they've spent a lot of time on working on the graphics and on optimization. So now they've said that the way the game's looked in trailers for Warzone Mobile, which isn't stunning, but it's good for a mobile game, they've said that's roughly how it will look on the minimum spec devices. So if your device is one that meets the minimum spec, and I find all of the spec stuff a little bit more confusing to understand because I'm not really into phones and things like that, than it is on PC. But if your phone is capable of playing Warzone Mobile on their official minimum spec sheets, then it should look as good as it looked in those early trailers, which I think that's pretty cool. I've heard lots of people saying, oh, when Warzone Mobile comes out, it's going to be a disaster because it's not optimized at all and it won't run on anyone's phones. It really does sound like maybe that was true of the test version that they've been running for the last few months. But this new version, this version that they've got, I've just realized it's got super bright. The sun's just started pouring through the window and my face is a bit blown out. Sorry about that. But anyway, this new version should hopefully be a lot better optimized and work really well. And they've also talked about some different kind of settings they've got, including one that's called Peak Warzone or something like that, where you can set it to that and it'll have the best graphics possible. We'll have to download a load of high resolution texture packs and things like that. But if you've got the latest iPhone or iPad, or I assume some better devices, they talked about it in terms of if you've got iPhones or iPads with the latest processors. They're called M13 or A7 processors, I think. I might be getting that wrong. Or better. Now, I have Samsung devices that have better processors than that, and my ROG Phone 8 that is going to be running Warzone Mobile for me. That's what I'm going to be streaming from. That has a better processor than one of those, I think the M17. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to use this kind of fancy mode. It's going to have better graphics. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes tomorrow. All of that will be revealed. We've also had a lot of clarity on the different modes that are going to be available. So you're not only going to be able to play the main sort of Warzone on Verdansk, the main Battle Royale mode, but you're also going to be able to play a special kind of mobile Warzone, which is going to be quicker games. So maybe like Mini Royale, something like that, as well as Resurgence over on Rebirth. And there's, to me, slightly weirdly, also some kind of team deathmatch things on maps like Shipment and Shoot House, which, again, that seems really strange to me. This is Warzone Mobile, but they're kind of adding the multiplayer stuff in too. But that might work better if you don't have time to play like a full match of Battle Royale. You can play one of these smaller modes, or, you know, just leveling up guns, trying out something, trying to get used to the controls maybe. They've said that they're going to be including things like slide cancelling that I don't think was in all of the test versions of the game. I'm not sure the game needs slide cancelling. I'm not sure if that's going to be super helpful to the game. It does sound a little bit like they're trying to push to have quite a big skill gap in this. And I think that's something that people have been wary of with mobile games before, is that because they have to simplify things, because they have to have things like auto running or auto aiming, auto shooting. You know, if you've played Call of Duty Mobile, the old game, which I know was made by different developers and stuff, but the auto aim in that is absolutely crazy. Like, it's super hard to miss, especially if you're using a controller, so you're not using the touch screen. They've also said that there's not going to be any bots in the game, that you're always going to be playing against real players. I think maybe just in the Battle Royale mode, but in those Battle Royale modes, you're only going to be playing against real players. And I wonder how they're going to manage different people on different devices, because of course there's going to be people playing this, I would imagine, predominantly just using the touch controls on their screen. There's also going to be a lot of people playing it like I will be, using an Xbox controller or something similar, like a Bluetooth controller to control it. And then there'll be people using things like keyboard and mouse and stuff, you know, people running it on emulators on PC. So it definitely won't be an even playing field, like even further from that than what we have in normal Warzone. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a difference that makes. I know while I was setting up my mobile rig to stream it from, I played a bit of Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale, and I was using a controller connected through my phone. The ROG Phone 8 does some kind of fancy stuff where you can map the touchscreen controls to actual controller buttons. So I'm guessing I was going up against touchscreen people, and I only played one game because it felt like it was cheating. It felt like I was legitimately cheating. I was just running around, easily winning every encounter because I could like strafe and drop shot and jump around while shooting and stuff. And everyone else seemed like it was taking them a long while to aim and shoot at me. As soon as I played one game, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again, because that was just very clearly unfair. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well they can kind of match you up against other people using touch controls or other people using controllers, when it seems like there's so many ways to kind of spoof your inputs on a phone compared to maybe PC or definitely console anyway. But again, that'll be interesting to see. So now let's go through the answers in the question and answer session. Sadly, they didn't answer my questions. One of them was about Bunker 11 and the Easter eggs from the old version of Verdansk. They have said that Verdansk is going to be changing every season, you know, when they do updates to it and things like that. So maybe they'll add the Easter eggs in. I guess we'll just have to find out for ourselves. But these are the things they did talk about. There's like 9 questions here. So the first one was about optimization and how much work they've done on that. They did say, interestingly, that they've been having their engineers work directly with the engineers who are sort of working on the phone chipsets, the various different chipsets that are used. And so it's a constant process. But in the last 3 months, they've made leaps and bounds. And it's going really well by the sounds of it. Now, one thing that I thought was super interesting, because of course they're going to say it's going really well, but one thing I thought was really interesting was that they said it is the same engine as what they're using on PC and console. And that just blew my mind, the idea they are doing it. And it makes sense why they're doing it, because then obviously content that's made for one can be swapped over. I remember talking to a Call of Duty developer during the Black Ops Cold War year, where they were saying about how bundles and, you know, operator skins that were made for Black Ops Cold War had to actually be remade for Warzone for all the integration stuff, because they were running on 2 different engines. So this game, Warzone Mobile, is closer, technically, I guess, to the current console and PC version of Warzone than Black Ops Cold War was, which that to me is absolutely crazy. Anyway, the second question, are there going to be weapons and operators that are not from the current version of Warzone? And they said yes, there are going to be some sort of exclusive things for mobile. that aren't necessarily from the version of Warzone that we've got right now. So I imagine there might be some kind of fan favorite weapons and things like that. I'm not really sure what it means for operators, but it'll be interesting to see. There's another question a little bit more about that later. But weapons is an interesting one. I wonder if we'll see things like the Kar 98 come back, maybe the Growl, things like that. You know, things that were a big part of Warzone 1 that maybe will come back to be a part of Warzone Mobile. The third question was about cross progression and just about, you know, how all that's going to work. And they were saying, yep, they really wanted it to be as kind of easy as possible. And a big part of that was about new players. So people who have maybe never played Warzone before, they thought Verdansk was the perfect map to start on because, you know, it's an easy map to understand. And then maybe people would play Warzone Mobile and then find, oh, hey, a lot of the progression that I've already done is already, you know, having an impact on console or on PC. And if you've already got an Xbox or a PlayStation or a PC, you could just load it up and find that you've already made some headway into it. And I thought that, you know, that's an interesting idea. I hadn't really thought about it from the point of view of these new players, but that seems to be where a lot of the focus is on, is just this idea of making it as frictionless as possible for people who have played Warzone on one platform, whether that's mobile or console or PC, to be able to then carry on and try things out on a different platform, which is obviously really good for them, but it's good for players too, being able to play where you want, you know, and being able to jump between them, which I'm sure I will. You know, I tend to stream from PC, and then sometimes I play on console if I'm playing, you know, in the living room on the big TV, and then sometimes I'll want to play on mobile, like when I'm on holiday and stuff. So I think that sounds really good. The fourth one was about events, and they've said, yep, there definitely are events, and there's going to be events all the way through Warzone Mobile. The Day Zero event is happening immediately, where there's these community things where I think there's going to be different challenges for different areas of the map. And once the community completes them, then that's going to be kind of unlocking things like skins and things like that that are exclusive to Warzone Mobile, so that's kind of cool. They have also said in some of the pre-release materials that there's going to be new challenges and things happening every week that are about kind of encouraging players to try different things out and play in different ways. Obviously, we already have that with the normal version of Warzone with weekly and daily challenges and stuff like that. But it sounds like these events are going to carry on. It's something that Warzone's been doing quite a lot since Modern Warfare 3 launched, having like every season having 2 or 3 kind of events, some of which have specific challenges in, some of which are just, you know, get this much XP and we'll give you a sticker or something. But it sounds like they're carrying on with that. There was confirmation for the fifth question about whether if you've been playing it on limited release, so people who have already been able to play Warzone Mobile, will that progression carry over? And they said yes, it will. So if you've already been playing Warzone Mobile, there's not going to be a full wipe or anything like that. The sixth question was about graphics options and what sort of graphics options are available on mobile. And there was a sort of a fairly in-depth answer about this, and he was talking about how, yes, they do want to enable as many graphics options as possible so people can customize their own experience based on a device they've got, but they also need to protect people from kind of, you know, balking their own device by turning things up too high. An example he gave was like with field of view. If you turn the field of view up, it will negatively affect frame rate because it's rendering more. So they kind of want to have things like that you can change, you can choose, but maybe they need to give the right information to let people know the negative effects it might have. And also there might be things like presets and stuff, like a battery optimized mode, which will let you play for longer, maybe at the expense of some frame rate or some visual detail or something like that. The seventh question was about anti-cheat, and maybe an answer that some people won't want to hear, but given what's just happened with Apex and easy anti-cheat, I think it's maybe understandable. The Warzone Mobile will run on Ricochet. As I said earlier, it is the same engine as it is on console and PC, so I don't think this is a huge surprise, but there is a team within the Ricochet team that are working on Warzone Mobile, so that will carry on. The eighth question was about will the rewards you unlock on mobile always be usable on the main platforms? Well, I say main platforms, the other platforms, PC and console. Interestingly, no. There's going to be some things that are unique to mobile, and I thought the answer they gave to this, the reasoning for it, was really interesting. It was basically that there's some things that the other console, the platform creators, the platform owners, won't allow on their platforms, or won't necessarily agree to terms in the same way that maybe they can get away with on mobile. So it sounds like maybe that'll be certain IPs, maybe that'll be something where I could easily imagine something like, oh, they want to do a Marvel bundle and they can do it on mobile. They can get the licensing for it, but Fortnite have a special deal for that on console or something like that. I can imagine stuff like that happening where there's just kind of legal battles and problems with rights that mean not everything you unlock on mobile will be available to use on console and platform. The things that are, there's going to be like a special little connected symbol, so you'll be able to tell before you buy something and with the rewards whether or not it's going to be usable on different platforms. It does sound, they were being very transparent about it. It sounds like they really want things to be available on as many platforms as possible. I mean, why wouldn't they? But they're just saying like it's not possible with everything. And then the ninth one, the last question, was about, and this was really interesting and not an answer I expected, will controller and touchscreen players be separated? And they said no, not at first. So from the beginning, you'll be matched up against people regardless of whether they're using touchscreen or controller. And their reasoning was that from what they've seen so far, there are some touchscreen players that can fight against controller players and do really well. They're going to wait to see the data. So I imagine, if after the first week of playing, the only people who are winning games are people playing on controller, and they're, racking up 30 kill games while people on touchscreen are struggling to get one, then, maybe they'll separate them. But I'm guessing they want there to be the biggest possible population to make matchmaking and stuff better. So they're just lumping everyone together. To me, that sounds a bit worrying, but, I'll be playing on controller, so hopefully I'll be on the winning side of that, the side that does better out of it. But like I said, when I was using a controller against touchscreen people on Call of Duty Mobile Battle Royale, it was ridiculous how easy it was. Hopefully that isn't quite how it works in Warzone. But anyway, that was the question and answer session. It was just kind of a quick half an hour thing to give us some answers. Hope some of that information helped you. If you want to see me playing Warzone Mobile, I'll be live from 6 p.m. tomorrow after I've flown across the sea to get back home. I'll be live, so make sure you check it out right here on YouTube, and I'll also be live on Twitch. And if you've got any other questions about the game, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies about the resolution and stuff, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.